Welcome to another episode of Hello Again Wednesday with Brent Miller. Each Wednesday join in as his special guest. Answer the question of the day. Listen to life stories. Follow him on Spotify or your favorite podcast platform. On Facebook or his YouTube channel, Brent Miller What's on His Mind.
This week's episode 138. Look up in the sky. It's a plasma burst. Question of the day. Have you ever looked into the sun?
And now.
All right, it is Hello Again Wednesday. This is, yes, I know it's Thursday, and I'm actually going to blame the plasma burst, and you'll understand why in just a minute. But it is Hello Again Wednesday, episode number 138, a day late. You might have saw me on yesterday briefly, and some of it was clippy and messed up, and then I had a distraction, and then I know you didn't hear anything at the end, and so today, episode 138. If you're really, I said this like yesterday, if you're really watching today, you are definitely an extra credit special guest today, because you are joining me live this evening as you watch along. And I do see there's someone watching me. Thank you for joining today. You will not regret it, I hope. And so this is Hello Again Wednesday, number 138. Last week, and I'm going to start the whole thing. Last week episode was similar. It was Look Up in the Sky. It's a plane, and I asked for some of your best airplane stories, and I even contacted two of my high school friends. So we're going back many years, and they are in the airline industry. And I asked them because one of the things that took place was there was a plane circling O'Hare in Chicago, and they had to come down because of an unruly passenger, and they had to dump all their fuel. They were going to Amsterdam. They had to dump all their fuel and get rid of it. And my question was, man, how do they dump that much fuel, you know, over O'Hare? Because O'Hare actually is not over Lake Michigan. I mean, you could hit Lake Michigan if you wanted to with no problem, but it's actually inland. And so I asked, and one of my friends, she laughed and said she didn't know, and another friend who's up in the front, he's up in the pilot area, the cockpit, and he said, well, what it is this super fine mist at such a high altitude that it never hits the ground, it never falls on anyone. And so I wrote back, and I said, I'm just going to laugh this one and laugh at it just a little, because it takes me way back to growing up on Royal Avenue in Rockford, Illinois. When the mosquitoes were really bad in the summer, they would actually send a pickup truck with a big machine on the back squirting a quote fine mist to kill the mosquitoes while we were outside playing. And so I'm sure our parents called us in or whatever, but I can remember seeing the mosquito truck go by and stuff with that fine mist. And so I laughed at that. You know, no harm was done to anyone on the ground, right? And so as I prepared for this week's episode, Look Up in the Sky, it's a plasma burst. As I was preparing for this one, I'm still seeing a news article, and you know what? If it catches my eye on the title, then I will look at it. And it was funny because I just done last week's episode about the airplanes, and this one was O'Hare, Chicago Airport. At the Chicago airport. I'm sorry, I'm outside and my eyes itching just a touch, and but I was reading this article about a United flight, and what they were doing is they were coming into O'Hare, and as they were coming into O'Hare for a landing, just out, you know, O'Hare is, like I said, it's inland, and so there's the suburbs, and the suburbs are the residential area, and as it's flying over the residential area, it blows one of its deployable emergency slides, just blew it right off the plane, and it landed in the residential area in the backyard of some guy's house, and it wrecked it damaged his roof. That's the way they said it. It damaged his roof, and and ruined the screen on the kitchen window. And I'm like, ruined the screen on the kitchen window? I don't even know if I would have put that in the story, because then it sounds like you got this lady in it sounds like you got this lady in her robe going, hey, that tornado was all green and it was just coming straight for the house. That's what it sounds like. I would have just left it at the roof was messed up. But anyways, as I was preparing for today, or yesterday actually, I came across that article, and it just reminded me of last week's Hello Again Wednesday. Question of the day: have you ever looked into the sun? Have you ever looked into the sun? The question actually reminded me, for me, a music man, and a music fan, back in 1976, Man for Man's Earth Band wrote the song Blinded by the Light. And I can remember going to rec night over at Wilson Middle School, going to rec night there with some friends and stuff, or maybe it was even at a rec night, which is a Friday night fun night at McIntosh Elementary School. It's just things I did in 1976. And so 1970, well, that's when it was written. I remember hearing the song after 1976. Let's see, 75, no, yeah, it would have been. Anyways, hey, so Man for Man's Earth Band wrote a song, Blinded by the Light, and it had this one line in the song that said this: Mama always told me never look into the eyes of the sun. And then the singer sings, but Mama, that's where the fun is. And I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? We've always done it, at one point in time, and that's why I asked, have you ever looked into the sun? Because at one point in time, we've looked up in the sky. I have looked at the sun setting, especially, man, we're on like I said, we're right here on the Pacific, and we've sat on the beach and just watched the sun sink over the horizon or catch the mountain. And it's just really, really cool to see looking into the sun sometimes, or that red at night, sailor's delight, red in the morning, sailor take warning. The clouds can really put off a beautiful image with the sun. I've seen many pictures from some of my friends here on Facebook doing that, but that song always popped into my head. But enough of that. The whole reason I chose today, look up into the sky, it's a plasma burst, because this week was what they called a Cannibal coronal mass ejection. And coronal mass ejection, the thing acronym or whatever would be CME. It's not an acronym, it's just CME. Okay, to the first letters of the I know it's an acronym. Okay, the coronal mass ejection. Well, this week was a cannibal one. Cannibal, not cannibal, cannibal. A cannibal one. It devoured a dark eruption from the sun, and the headline said that this cannibal coronal mass ejection, I'll get it, devoured dark eruption from the sun, and it will smash into Earth today, July 18th. Like, whoa, that's just crazy. And I'm a huge astronomy fan. I love astronomy. I love the things that I've been seeing in the news and watching. And this one really caught my eye. A cannibal coronal mass ejection, a CME that's a cannibal, is birthed from multiple solar storms, including a surprise dark eruption, and is currently on collision course with Earth and could trigger, ready, a weak geomagnetic storm on our planet when it hits on Tuesday, July 18th. Okay, that's when they were expecting it to hit. CMEs are large. They're fast-moving clouds of magnetized plasma and solar radiation that occasionally get flung into space. Okay, and so what it is, if you've ever looked at people talk about sun flares and stuff like that, what it is they're looking at the surface of the sun, and they see sunspots, and then they see these things taking place on the sun, and it's a solar flare. And what it does is it comes up like a horseshoe horseshoe. And when that horseshoe comes up, and if it just gets so stretched, it snaps and it loops plasma, which is located near the sunspot. It snaps that plasma, that that loop in half, and it shoots it out to us. Okay, and it causes these geomagnetic storms or disturbances in our planet's magnetic field. Okay, this is what it can do. It can trigger partial radio blackouts and produce vibrant auroras displays much farther away from Earth's magnetic poles than normal. That was the article. I loved it. Now, I say this is why I'm doing a Thursday episode instead of a Wednesday episode, because I blame the plasma burst, the plasma Cannibal from coming, because they didn't know if it was going to be Tuesday or Wednesday on all of the disturbances. And so yesterday's mess ups was a disturbance of the plasma. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to stick to it. Okay, but stay with me here for a few minutes here. The what it is there is a and I'm not there yet. There is this Cannibal CME, this ejection that comes off the sun, okay, and it shoots off, and then a larger, faster one, or a second one that's faster comes up, and it catches up to the first one, and it engulfs it, and it creates this massive wave of plasma. Okay, so on July 14th of this past week, it launched a just a regular CME, and but it launched it next to a dark eruption. The dark eruption is hard for them to see, and what it is it contains a cool plasma. Okay, a solar flare that contains a cool plasma, and it looks like this dark wave that is just coming up off of the sun's surface. And they had these, I mean, the scientists have it pretty specific on the name of each of the where the sunspot took place and what happened and stuff like that. And it was just, if you're looking, AR3370 was the first one, came off the sun, and then on July 15th, a second faster one came off of AR3363. So it's two separate ones, and they're in close proximity. And so as it was shooting through the air now off of the sun's surface, then it comes and it comes over it and it hits it, and they thought it was going to hit on July 18th. So what I'd like to do, if you'll bear with me, I want to show you a video presentation of what they said that it actually looked like on July 18th. Okay, so I can do this. I had to properties, I had to go okay, I had to media source, transition. Okay, that is cool. That is what that plasma burst looked like coming off of the sun's surface. And so it exploded, and then had that huge explosion that came after it, and just that Cannibal came up and just ate that first one, and then it started rushing toward us. Okay, now this is not the first one that has ever happened. Okay, we had a Cannibal CME that smashed into Earth in November of 2021. I did not know this, and it had it introduced the people into the thought process, the scientists, of telling us certain things that's going to take place. So then in 2022, we had two of them slam into us. We had one in March and we had one in August, and they triggered what they call a G3 class storm, which is stronger than the ones that we had yesterday, enough to mess me up, but in those times it was stronger. Now, before I get into a technical thing about it, I had a friend over in the Phoenix area. She went up to and saw up in Alaska, I believe, the aurora lights, and they were just phenomenal. I mean, she had such great pictures of it. I was thrilled because it's like, this is so cool. And then I saw another, as I was doing work on this episode, I saw another guy who went up this week in an airplane and took pictures off of the horizon, and it was so cool to see the colors that he had gotten on his pictures of this one that we just went through. And so I'm like, wow, that explains why they were so phenomenal, was because of those cannibal sunbursts that were creating something. Now, these take place more and more, and like I said, 2021, 2022 had two of them, and then we had another one right now. And so what it does is the sun has an 11-year solar cycle. And so as the sun does its living for 11 years, then it explodes this stuff off to get rid of some of the things that are built up under the surface of the sun. And so, hey, I understand that. I hope you guys too. There is a peak at the 11-year area where it just has massive explosions. Now, back in 1859, we had the very first spotting of the sunspots, where someone actually, a scientist, saw the sunspots, noticed something, and as he is looking at the sunspots and the sun and what's taking place, he didn't know they were sunspots. He saw something in 1859 as he was looking up at it. For 5 minutes, there was this huge bright light that he saw coming off of the sun. And that's where he then later saw that it was from the sunspots as he's looking up there. And so it's the first recorded history of a solar flare. And I'm going to show you a picture, and then I'm going to tell you what happened after this first one that we saw here in 1859, after it took place. Oops, let me get back to here, and I'm going to show you the picture. It's an image right here, and I know this will work right here. So here's the picture, and it almost looks like a dragon on the top, or some of you are going to get gross, maybe, whatever, but it's these blob-like things of what Carrington drew up a sketch of what he saw on the sun's surface. Now, if you look below that sketching, you can actually see the sunspots that we can now actually take pictures of with our cameras on our telescopes today. And you can see that Carrington, he was far ahead of us in our telescopes today, as he draws these sunspots that we see for the first time in 1859. Okay, 1859. And so with that, maybe you guys heard me yesterday. I don't know. Okay. Pardon me just a sec. And so what took place 48 hours after Carrington saw this is how it became so well known, because as that plasma burst was racing toward Earth at a massive amount of speed, 48 hours later, what you had was telegraph offices went up in flames because of what was taking place. And then there was the aurora lights were seen as far down as Cuba and Hawaii. And so that is what took place in 1859. We've had 5 major 5 major geometric storms hit us, as in G4, G5s, okay? It just superheated storms, thermal storms, and so they're just kind of looking at some of the things that are taking place at what is happening with our sun, and just the beauty, I think, the aurora lights that come with it, as well as the disturbances of the plasma geometric storms that come our way. I also saw, as I was preparing, this is my last one, as I was preparing for this week's episode, I also noticed another headline. It was called "The Webb Telescope Spots a Supermassive Black Hole Formed More Than 13 Billion Years Ago." Now, what caught my eye was the supermassive black hole. That was like I said, I've loved that stuff since the space race. For me, would have been 1970, okay, 1969. Just my fascination. And then there was movies, The Black Hole and stuff like that. Those things intrigued me. 13 billion years ago does not intrigue me, because who knows? How do they know? They weren't there. I know they're going to, some of you guys are going to tell me, oh, their technology. Well, what if their technology is wrong? Hello. To be able to say something that you can't even see, something you can't even get to, you're going to tell me that's how old it is, and you have no idea for real? Anyways, I'm not going to bust a bunch of bubbles that way, but, hey, that's just my opinion. Welcome to Hello Again Wednesday with Brent Miller. You can state your opinion too. State it in the comments or leave a video for me, and that'll be great too. Anyways, so they're looking at this super massive black hole, and it lies within, and CERS stands for something else, and it's 1019. This is a portion of the universe. CERS is a portion of the universe, number 1019, and they see this old, and they think that the galaxy that they're looking at now is formed 570 million years, and that's how their article goes. And I don't endorse the article. Like I said, I'm about the black hole. That's what got me. But 570 million years after the Big Bang, like they were there for that too. Let's get real. And because of that, then it makes it 13 billion years old, and they just got to try to pile up their thought process. Here's the reality: there's a big black hole out there, and the closer that we send stuff out there to see stuff, we can get closer and closer and start to see things. We're not even on Mars yet. Hello. Okay. Anyways, so now back to the things that intrigued me about the black hole, especially this black hole. This black hole, it's about 9 million solar masses. Does anybody know what a solar mass is? Let me tell you, a solar mass is a unit that is equivalent to the mass of our sun. So 9 million of our suns is how big this black hole is. And so it's just huge, just extremely huge. I think they say that it's 333,000 times larger than the Earth. That's just massive. Okay. And so, it just intrigued me that they see a black hole. Now, let me see. That's far less than other black holes that existed in the early universe and were detected by other telescopes. According to NASA, those behemoths typically contain more than 1 billion times the mass of the sun. Not 9 million, but 1 billion times the mass of the sun. Can you imagine how big that black hole must be? Okay. They're finding new galaxies all the time. They're finding out God has created the universe much larger than we can ever believe that it is. Okay. And so it's just really cool, some of these things that they're finding, and stuff like that. And so I asked the question, okay, have you ever looked into the sun? And now Actually, there was one other article, and I'm not even naming the article or anything, but except for this. Here was the headline that caught my eye. What does staring at the sun mean spiritually? As a pastor, I would like to know. So I began to look at this article, and I go to find out I am not a cult sun gazer, and that's what this is. The meaning of sun gazing, as its name implies, is the act of staring intently at the sun. The sun is the main source of energy here on Earth. I'm going to stop there for a sec. Now, outside of this stupid article, I do believe that the sun is helpful. Vitamin D, you know what? I moved out here to Southern California, and my psoriasis has gone to just about nil. And I'm loving the ultraviolet rays. That's what, back in the 80s, I was told that would help me. In Illinois, it's hard to get some big UVs in the wintertime. Out here, I can have them all the time. And so I have enjoyed the UVs out here. And so it is great energy physically for me. They believe that if you stare at the sun, you'll get better energy for your physical, mental, and spiritual stability. Now, here's the problem that cult has with their spirituality, is that it misses true peace. It misses true spiritual holiness. It misses a connection, or it has a connection that's not even ever made to the sun. Okay, they just state something, but it's not this true spiritual connection to the sun. And so now I'll tell you this: there's a beautiful spiritual walk. I told you I was a pastor. There's a beautiful spiritual walk. There's a beautiful awareness, a beautiful holy life that leads to heavenly eternity. The article of the cult never promises you anything in the whole article. Doesn't promise you anything. This promises you heavenly eternity with God. And that's ready. It's looking to the sun, spelled S-O-N, not S-U-N, S-O-N. And that's the Son of God, Jesus. If you want true spirituality, that's what you'll have. There is spirituality. There's good and there's bad. There's holy and there's non-holy. There's God and there's not God. And so I choose God and the Son of God, Jesus. Question of the day. I'm at the end. What are some of your best, have you ever stared into the sun? Chime in with your opinions, your discussions, and I love, if you have other questions, let me know. Well, I'll talk about it. Okay, thanks for watching, thanks for checking in, and make sure you pass this along to everybody else. Yesterday was Bible study at 5:30. I did not miss it. Man, I was like right to the minute almost of trying to make things work, and then just gave up, okay, yesterday, and had Bible study. It was a great Bible study that we had. If you can't watch Culver City Church of God on Facebook here, which is Culver City Church of God Ministries. We're on Facebook every week, Sunday at 10:45 out here. We also have our weekly Bible study. If you can't join us, hey, check out a church near you. Check out their Bible studies whenever they are, okay? Be with some friends, laugh, eat together, meet new friends. And last week I said, hey, look up, only instead of just looking up, look up. It's not so much look up, look for God, and then see the sun, S-O-N, see the sun, okay? I hope you guys, I'm going to say this, had a great Wednesday. I know it's Thursday. I hope you guys had a great Wednesday. Most of all, thanks for being my special guest. Thanks for coming back on Thursday and being my special guest. Remember to give somebody a hello again hug, a hello again handshake, a hello again whatever. Just come back next Wednesday and see what's taking place then. I'm so glad you guys joined me. I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday on Hello Again Wednesday.
Thanks for watching or listening to this week's episode of Hello Again Wednesday with Brent Miller. Each Wednesday, you can join in as his special guest. Answer along with the question of the day. Listen to life stories. Follow him on Spotify or your favorite podcast platform, on Facebook, or his YouTube channel, Brent Miller What's on His Mind. Please join him next Wednesday for another episode.